On this week's show, Peloton has sold their factory and Cody Rigsby's book tour has new dates.
Peloton Studios have some upcoming closings, and Peloton is also hosting an event with Lululemon, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 161 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm Amanda Siegel, and I'm back with not one, but two co-hosts today, John and Chris. Hey, guys.
Hey, we're back to the usual threesome.
Welcome back, Amanda.
I like it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Pretty whirlwind trip to London with a stopover at PSL, which is always fun. I got to say, guys, that place rocks. It really is just the most welcoming, warm, lovely place to go and work out. I mean, even the fact that I got up in -3-degree weather and got to run with Jocelyn at 7:30 a.m. on a Monday morning, just so that I could get to see everybody there and say goodbye, gives you evidence that it's certainly a place to be.
-3 in London?
Oh my God, John!
That's
I have
unheard
never
of.
Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Celsius.
Okay.
But
that's not that bad.
But yeah, it's bad. They are not used to, I mean, they got the coldest winter they've had in a very long time. It's going up. The temperatures are starting to go up, thank goodness. But it was thank goodness it didn't rain. We got no rain while we were there, which was amazing. But just bitterly cold temps. But but a fun few days. Got to see, all my Pelo peeps in London, which is always so much fun. And run with John, got a walk with John, got a ride with Leanne. This four limit thing is no bueno.
Yeah, so they have it applied over at PSL now too.
They do. Yeah. So that kind of
not that
sucks.
It's really an issue there, but I guess they got to keep it.
No, it isn't an issue. And in fact, on Thursday night, they were scrounging to get folks into Jocelyn's Color Purple run because there were a couple people that didn't show up. So, yeah, I mean, I do think they should run things differently there. But who knows? And it was fun to get my daughter in the studio. So this was Nicole's first experience in a studio, period. She hadn't been in London. She hadn't been in New York or London. So I think this is going to be, if she's in town on the weekends.
You planted the seed.
I've planted the seed. Her and all her girlfriends, I was able to get them all in, and they had so much fun.
Well, how far away is your daughter from the studio where she's staying abroad?
It's about a 30-minute tube ride, and it's an easy ride. It's like straight, it's a straight shot, so it's an easy. Oh my goodness, I have to tell you, I have to share the story online because I think that he'll get a kick out of me mentioning him, and of course I don't know his name, but I know his wife's name. So thank you, Chris Lewis, for giving me this D-list celebrity status. But I am randomly sitting at Queen Mary in my daughter's dorm room, chatting to the most incredible young woman who runs the housing of Queen Mary, and she looks over to us and awkwardly says to us, "I have kind of a geeky question to ask you guys, but do any of you do a Peloton podcast?" And of course, Nicole bursts out laughing, looks over to me and goes, "My mom." And she's like, "Oh my God, are you serious? You're the Peloton." Turns out her husband is an avid Pelo Buddy listener. And he had heard that I was coming to London and getting my daughter settled at Queen Mary. And she was very excited to get to meet me and asked if I would come back to her office to get a picture. So, of course, this obviously made my, year. I don't even think I could say day, month, or week. It was year. So really, so huge shout out to Kim and her husband. And thank you for listening to the show, because it's always kind of fun to get noticed out in the wild. But I mean, how random.
So they live in the States and they were moving their kid in to the dorm?
No. She runs the housing at Queen Mary. She's an American. She is an American. She's from Chicago, but is married to a Brit and she's been in the UK for about 10 years. But they love the show. So Chris, huge shout out to you, my friend, for really, giving me that little edge.
What did they say about me?
Nothing.
All right, back to Amanda. Anyway,
but
how
I
are you
had
doing,
to
Chris?
share that. Too funny.
Well, good to have you back.
Thank you. It is nice to be back. And I guess kind of a quiet week, but you guys have had a good week?
It's been a good week. It's not the same without you because I just can't really bust Chris's balls the way I do with you, Amanda. So
my bad.
It's all right. He keeps you in check. It's all good. Well,
yeah,
again,
it's cold. It's snowy. What more to say? But it's been a good week of working out. So
good. Yeah.
I'm sore for lots of tread boot camps this week. So I'm feeling it now.
Good stuff. That's awesome. You're getting that strength in there,
Rebecca, Selena, Andy, the whole trifecta of tread boot camps this week. It's been nice.
Fantastic. Still not on that row?
No, I did a 15-minute row on Thursday with Bex.
Oh,
good. My first time rowing with her. Yeah.
Okay.
And she was cute. She spotted me and she said, "Please don't make a meme out of me on this thing." So yeah, it was good. It was a
awesome.
hit row. Yeah. But a nice 15 minutes is good. That goes by quick enough. I'm not looking at the clock because it can get a little boring on the row. So
yeah. Good stuff. Well, I'm excited to get onto Maddie's new 5-day split. That just got launched while I was gone, so I'm excited to do that. And I guess we'll talk about Ben's Stronger You too, and so many exciting things. So it's all good. All right, guys. Well, as always, before we get started with the news, we always like to remind you how you can keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button so that you never miss an episode.
And of course, you know that you can listen to us if you're on the go, want the audio only version. We're on all podcast platforms. And be sure to subscribe to us and click notifications there so you don't miss an update or an episode. And please leave us the 5-star reviews. We love reading those reviews from time to time. And we especially love the feedback on how we can enhance and improve the show. So please keep those coming.
Awesome. And of course, folks, we're on Facebook, Instagram, X. Just search for Pelo Buddy and follow us on those platforms for all of the latest news. And I guess let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
All right. So first up, Peloton has officially sold the Peloton Output Park, which was going to be their 1.2 million square foot facility in Ohio. The space, it was purchased by a company called First Solar, which is a solar company based out of Arizona, for $33 million. Originally, the land had been purchased for around $6.2 million by Peloton, and then construction was partially completed before Peloton decided to pull the plug and close the factory and not continue with the plans of it. But some background. So Peloton had first announced this massive output park, which would be like a destination for members. There'd be a space for members, like a lounge type place. You could see, I think you could view assembly where they were going to do in-house assembly of their equipment. It was going to be their first US-based factory that was going to open in 2023, but this was back in May of 2021. In early of 2022, the opening was delayed until 24, and then shortly thereafter, they announced they were continuing with the factory, and they would close it entirely. And then pretty soon thereafter, the announcement was made that founder and former CEO John Foley was stepping down, and then there was all those 1,200 different people were let go, and the massive cuts with the company. And then in 2022, they decided they would just use third-party manufacturing moving forward. But I remember back, I guess it was May of 2021, they had like this nice groundbreaking ceremony. They invited some local members out there that were, in Michigan or Ohio. Some lucky members got Peloton branded shovels, when they did the groundbreaking. I remember JB Nava was there, who was the head of community back then. John Foley, I think his wife was with him. So yeah, it was like a huge bummer when they pulled the plug, obviously, because it would have been a really cool facility. The plans that they showed were very nice.
Yeah, definitely sad that never materialized. Hey,
I mean, it seems like so long ago. That's like the older version of Peloton. They had some lofty goals.
Yeah, and they actually, they had to sink a little bit more money into it. Like, even after they said they were shutting it down, they ended up continuing construction for a while because they were getting it into a better place to sell it. So even after it was shuttered, they were still spending money on it to kind of finish out that shell so that they could hopefully get it sold.
Would have been more attractive, to buyers.
Yeah, so I mean, they've been looking to sell it it took a minute for them to sell it. So I don't know what their original asking price was on it. But they got it for $33 million. I don't think they made any money on it, probably.
I was just going to ask, I was just going to ask if they sold it at a loss.
I'm sure they're just relieved to like have that off their books, because I'm sure it was like a big red
I think
mark
a year
on there.
or so ago, they said they were taking a $50 or $60 million impairment on their earnings. That's obviously not a direct sign of what they might have lost on it, just what they were getting down on the tax books for it. But I think a year or 6 months ago, one of their earnings call, they did mention that.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
Interesting. Yeah, I am kind of bummed. I think it would have been a fun place to have been able to kind of go and.
I know, and it would have been pretty close to me. So
yeah,
an easy drive down there.
Exactly. All right, well, moving on, Jess Sims recently participated in a Reddit Ask Me Anything session where she discussed various topics related to her work at Peloton and her future plans. Some of the key highlights from the AMA included Jess assuring a concerned member that she has no plans to leave Peloton, despite her many other commitments. She did hint that she is currently working through a new contract with Peloton, so that is great news. She also confirmed that new floor bootcamp classes are on the way. It wasn't clear if she was referring to an entire new program or standalone floor bootcamp classes. Peloton had previously released a floor bootcamp program with Jess and Selena Samuela in April of 2022, which doesn't require any equipment. So, maybe she's they're looking at doing that again, and maybe she's going to do it with somebody else. So I guess we have to wait and see. Jess also teased a new 2-for-1 class, possibly a tread bootcamp with Adrian Williams. They got a very positive review from their last one. Yeah. So, she acknowledged the positive feedback from previous classes they taught together, and she mentioned that future content is being discussed. She also shared her favorite classes, which include her Beyonce Saturday 60, her Lizzo 2-for-1, which she, as we all know, wasn't necessarily slotted for that. She had to step in at the last minute for Cody. That was the one that she did with Robin. And then her original Lizzo run from 2019. She also expressed her dream of having an artist series with Rihanna, Drake, and Jay-Z. So I think those are some fun artist series we could possibly look out for in the future. So yeah, she did a great job. It was really cool.
I noticed a lot of comments. People were surprised or never knew that Peloton instructors had contracts for whatever terms.
Yeah, no, I think I
thought that was an
knew
interesting,
that.
tidbit that we didn't know, or I would assume most people didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, Cody's book tour. He has announced a second leg of his book tour, which came out earlier this past fall. His book is XOXO Cody, an opinionated homosexual's guide to self-love, relationships, and tactful pettiness. He's got some new events on the calendar coming right around the corner. So first up is February 1st. That's going to be at PSL in London, which coincides with the 2 classes that he's teaching there, a special XOXO Cody, which is, I'm sure, Valentine's themed. And then I think he's also doing like a random intervals and arms ride there as well. But then he's going to be in the Midwest, February 21st in Chicago at the City Winery. I guess he had a deal with the City Winery venues in the States, because he's at those venues for the 3 stops in the U.S. February 26th, he's in Atlanta at the City Winery, and then in March 18th in Boston at the City Winery venue there. And then the book launch event at PSL, we have a link. You can get tickets for it. Is it a purchase ticket option, Chris?
It is. I'm pretty sure it's sold out at this point. Like all of them are sold out at this point, I believe.
And that does include a conversation. Leanne and Ben will be on hand there, so they'll be involved with that. And then tickets are already available for purchase for the 3 remaining dates in the U.S. at Via City Winery. You can find them in Cody's Instagram bio. We also have links on the write-up of this story on pelobuddy.com too. I'm kind of bummed. He already went to the Chicago area. I was hoping maybe get a Detroit Midwest stop, but no book tour love from anyone so far for Detroit. I just don't know if that's not really considered a good spot for book tours, for attracting visitors.
Interesting.
Guests. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, Peloton will also be hosting an event in collaboration with Lululemon in Bloomington, Minnesota at the Mall of America called Move For You. The event is scheduled for January the 28th from 11 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., where there will be 3 live classes featuring Adrian Williams, Callie Gullickson, and Chelsea Jackson Roberts. Members will also have an opportunity to do a meet and greet with the instructors. The program starts at 11 a.m. at the Huntington Bank Rotunda with a 30-minute Move For You bodyweight strength class with Callie. Callie will then relocate to the Lululemon Mall of America experimental store, where members will have an opportunity to attend a meet and greet and take pictures, chat, etc. If HIIT cardio is not your jam, if HIIT cardio is your jam, Adrian Williams will be running a 30-minute Move For You HIIT cardio class. That is going to happen at 1:30 p.m. Members will then be able to join him for a meet and greet session at 2:30 p.m. also at the Lululemon experimental store. Those folks that love a good yoga flow will have the opportunity to do a 30-minute Move For You yoga flow with Chelsea Jackson Roberts at 4 p.m. and then a meet and greet with Chelsea at 5 at the experimental store. Tickets for the Move For You classes are $40 and does get folks priority access to the instructors' meet and greet. There was a limit, though, of only 1 ticket per guest so that they could ensure that, folks would have the most amount of people would be able to have a chance to participate. But already at the time of recording, the entire event has been sold out. Of course, we at Pelo Buddy would love to know if any of you were lucky enough to secure a ticket for either the classes and or the meet or greet. So definitely let us know. But those were sold out in a flash.
Yeah, they the classes cost money, but they actually had separate tickets available for just the meet and
Correct.
greets, which were free.
Correct. And those were free.
Those stayed open a little bit longer, but they also ended up selling out by the end of the day. And they had emailed some of the local people and who were on the Lululemon email list. So they kind of got first access before Peloton posted about it. One thing hidden in there is that it said that you have to be a Lululemon member to attend these classes. However, they then go on to say, oh, you can be a free member. You just have to click here and give us your email address, basically. So you do have to be a Lululemon member, but that can be their free tier, which is basically their email list. And one other interesting note is they're saying that these classes are actually going to be recorded and they're going to be in the on-demand library by the end of the month. So if you're not local and didn't get in, you can actually take these classes from home later. Kind of what they did with the Live from LA, where they had members at a remote location and recorded them. They're going to do that here and be in the Peloton on-demand library later on.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool that they were going to do that. So hopefully they've perfected their recording skills from LA.
Well, LA, so the Lululemon and Mall of America, I believe it's their experimental store. So I think they actually have like a studio where they've done classes with Lululemon coaches before. So it's probably more set up for a recording studio classes. It's going to be easier for them to go in there rather than, in LA, they were working around the showroom, moving stuff around, and it just wasn't set up for this. So this, if they're in the studio there, it's probably gonna be a little more set up and easier for them to, get that set up ahead of time and not be trying to reopen the store for afternoon activities and stuff like that.
It's probably like Chicago, because the Chicago location I went to in Lincoln Park, they had a dedicated class space where, they probably taught bar and yoga.
Well, and they during the event, the Peloton, that's where they taught the classes in Chicago at the tour. They just didn't record them for the on-demand library there. So,
Chris, do we know how many slots were available? I couldn't seem to find that.
No.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Good stuff.
Well, Peloton's hosting another meet and greet while we're on the subject, this time with Denis Morton and Andy Speer. And it's going to be at the Jacksonville, Florida showroom on January 23rd. It'll take place from 5:30 p.m. when the doors open for some pre-shopping. The actual event begins at 6 p.m. where Andy and Denis will hold a chat and a Q&A session. And then at 7 p.m., there's going to be an opportunity for photos, a little meet and greet with both of them. The description, it reads, those who attend will listen to them talk, talk tips for crushing your goals in 2024, spill the behind the scenes intel on what inspires their class playlists, and pose for member photos. And in Jacksonville, I've never been to have you ever been to the Jacksonville showroom, Amanda?
No,
in Florida,
never been West Coast.
It was free to attend. It is, as of right now, as of we're recording today. I checked yesterday and it was already closed out. But if you're in the area, you missed the chance to RSVP. It can't hurt to reach out to the showroom directly 100%. To see if there's a wait, because a lot of these free RSVPs, people just bail or don't show. So you never know. You could still get in if you didn't get a chance to get an RSVP slot.
Yeah, interesting duo, don't you think, Andy and Denis?
Well, they're pretty close because
really?
They do. I mean, they go to concerts a lot. They hang out. They have a lot of overlapping instructor friends. And Denis and Andy are big Fish fans, and they seem to have been going lately. They've been going to a lot of concerts lately. They posted they were going to see Tool, and Jess King's partner Sophia's group was opening for Tool, I think, at the theater at Madison Square Garden at the whatever they call that, the Paramount or whatever, like smaller venue at Madison Square Garden.
Got it. I have to say, I think that these meet and greets and these things are fantastic. I mean, I think it's a great way for members who aren't able to get into New York or obviously to London, a nice opportunity to get some. I think all of them should do it. I really, I think it's a fantastic, and they should keep doing it. It's a great way.
Generally, by the time we're talking about it here, we're always saying, and at the time of recording, they're sold out. But we do generally post on our social media right when they happen. So people have, seen it on our social media and been able to get tickets there. It's just if we're waiting a week to talk about it here, that's probably going to be sold out by that point. So.
Of course, I know, which is frustrating.
That's why if you follow it, you got to follow instructors on Instagram, and you have to set up your notifications for stories or any posts like that, so you can get that notification and see, because Andy and Dennis posted about it.
Just follow Pelo Buddy. Just follow Pelo Buddy. I mean, most people say that they get their information first from Pelo Buddy before Peloton. I mean, Chris is amazing as to how quick he gets that information out there. So, just make sure you're following Pelo Buddy. Then you get everything. You don't have to worry about individual instructors. You get all the information from everybody. And if pretty
much when someone asks a question that's always been asked ad infinitum about purges or the booking a spot at the studio, someone almost always posts a Pelo Buddy article link to that question.
Exactly.
So that's fun to see.
So that's why it's a good idea to donate and have your extra added. If you can donate to Pelo Buddy with our socials, you'll have that extra ability to get stuff even quicker and faster. We'll get it out to you like, Speedy Gonzalez. All right. Well, Peloton will also be hosting a special event at PSL. This one is going to be featuring instructor Susie Chan. The event is called A Special Moment with Susie Chan. It's going to take place on Wednesday, I think it's Wednesday, January the 24th. It is an invite-only event, and certain members did receive an email promoting them to register. It is currently unclear what exactly the event entails. We do know that it includes some kind of viewing, followed by a 5K outdoor run. Though not confirmed, the picture in the invite suggests the content of the event could be the Badwater Ultra. So we don't have too much information yet. We're hoping to get more of it, and we'll obviously share it with you as soon as we have that information. But a lot of folks, absolutely are in awe of Susie and what she's accomplished. Talking about that, I don't believe we mentioned it on the show this week, but Justin Thompson Rule just interviewed Susie on her first episode of her latest podcast, Listen Loudly. So if you want to hear more about Susie, it actually was fantastic. I have to say, they chatted like, friends. They had to remind themselves that they were in fact on a podcast, but Susie's just so badass. So it's fantastic. And this will be a fun event.
Cool. Well, we've got some closures coming up for both studios. So PSNY is going to be closed just for one day on February 19th, which is President's Day here in the US. So no live classes at all due to the closure. And this day also overlaps when Peloton Studios London is closed as well. PSL is going to be closed, though, for a few extra days. They're citing for regular maintenance, but from February 19th to the 25th, the London studio will be closed. They're saying for regular maintenance. So a message appears at the top of the studio booking site with that detail for that weekend. I don't know it seems like PSL needs a lot of maintenance lately. I noticed some comments. I mean, what?
It seemed pretty together when I was there last week, so I'm not sure why. But 6
days.
I mean, maybe they're getting ready for those rowing classes.
Could be.
I don't really think that's it. I mean, they're not. You don't have to reconfigure a week's worth of maintenance for that, because in New York they just roll the rowers into the strength studio and call it a day. So I don't really think that's markers. It. But make sure the tape is on the floor really good for where they got to put the rower.
Right. They haven't had the rower. Now let's be nice. We're going to no negative talk. We said we don't like these negative people. Maybe they needed the extra time. They haven't had the rowers before. So if it is about rowing, that would be fantastic. And we're still waiting for them to launch strength members strength classes in that little studio that they
And just as a reminder, we did see a class from Ben, I think it was in October and November, which was called Rowing Rehearsal. And it was a full class that showed up in the on-demand library of Ben Alldis teaching a rowing class. So that's kind of what we're alluding to when we're talking about, waiting for the row to come into the UK.
Yeah, and I know that Ben had said that there was something exciting he was going to announce on his little. Ben and Leanne are doing these weekly chat things on Friday nights. They happen to have done it on Thursday night this past week, and I think it may be Stronger You, although Peloton had announced it, but maybe he's announcing rowing as well. So who knows? You'll hear it at Pelo Buddy first if we have that information. All right, a new artist series featuring the iconic music of Earth, Wind, and Fire dropped this past Thursday, January the 18th. It included 7 classes across 5 modalities, 1 class in German, and 2 premieres. The classes that dropped were a 30-minute Earth, Wind, and Fire ride with Cliff. That one was in German, and it was a premiere. There was an Earth, Wind, and Fire ride with Leanne, which was absolutely incredible. I mean, she just had the studio rocking. I was so bummed that I'd left and I wasn't able to be in for that. There was a 30-minute full body strength with Rebecca Kennedy, a yoga flow with Chelsea Jackson Roberts. They also had a run with Jess King, and then a 15-minute row with Adrian Williams. They rounded it all up with a 15-minute bar class with Hannah Corbin, and that one too was a premiere. The other 5 were all live classes. So definitely a fun artist series. Of course,
it's the most random one.
Fire.
It's got to be the most random artist series that no one has ever asked for, but people seem to really enjoy it.
And how did they not hold it in September?
Right. Because 21st of September. And for all of you, you have to know, it's my birthday. I have a song all about my, John,
back to Amanda. Okay. All right. Next story.
Now, just to finish, members who took any of the classes obviously received their Artist Series badge. It had been teased earlier, when Peloton added the Artist Series classes for January to the studio booking site. So we had warning that it was coming, but in fact, it just dropped this past week.
We have a new strength training program with Ben Alldis for folks that love his strength classes. A second edition of Ben's The Stronger You program was released on January 19th. Peloton shared the news via their monthly workouts to watch email, which I've really enjoyed because it kind of gives you a nice little heads up on upcoming stuff. And you got it right in your email. The first edition of Ben's Stronger For You program was released about 1 year ago on January 9th of 2023. It started out exclusive to the Peloton Guide before it was released to all members on the 27th of February of that year. But good thing to note, Peloton has since done away with the guide exclusivity where they've just exclusively put content out to the guide for folks that have that device. So now all members can expect to have access to the new program, which is currently out now of Ben's. And it focuses on building strength, stamina across the full body. It's housed, the Stronger You 2 will be housed within the programs tab. So classes have to be taken in sequential order and within the specified time frame. So just if you access it through your hardware devices, just know that going into it. However, of course, Chris Lewis always publishes the complete list of classes once they become available. If you want to take it out of order or at your own pace, you have that little sort of workaround on pelobuddy.com. This will be the second strength programming training program released in 2024. Earlier this month, Maddie Giacomo released a beginner level 5-day split strength program. So good time to get your strength fix on.
Yeah, so the program has come out, and the official description of it is time to elevate and take your weights, reps, and confidence to exponential heights with this 4-week program. Your journey continues in becoming the strongest version of you, kind of calling back to that first program. And it's set up where it's going to be 4 days of classes a week. You kind of do 2 classes each day. You start with a benchmark, but the general structure is the first day is going to be upper body. The second day is full body. The third day is lower body. And the fourth day is full body again. And you kind of repeat. It's either a 20-minute, strength class followed by a 5-minute stretch each of those 4 days each week. And then towards the end, you start doing 30-minute classes, and you wrap up the whole thing with another benchmark test kind of at the very end to kind of track your progress and see how far you came along.
So I'm curious, you said, did he end up doing the stretches independently to the actual classes?
Yes,
did he do it that way?
You're doing a 20-minute strength class and then a 5-minute stretch class afterwards for each of them.
So it was interesting because when I did the Stronger You one, and I really enjoyed the program. I mean, that is pretty much what propelled me into getting into my strength, and I loved the program. He was amazing, and would reach out to me a couple times and ask me how I was doing, etc. And one of the things he had asked was whether I would prefer for the stretching to be incorporated in the class as opposed to being a separate. I actually said I did like the idea of it being in the class. Clearly, he didn't think that was a good idea.
Well, and some of them later in the program, they're actually 10-minute stretch classes. So, they're kind of really making sure you get that stretching in with, a full 10 minutes after you do a 30-minute strength class.
Right. I mean, I had said that I am somebody that typically does do the stretching. I really, I have absolutely make that a point in my workout timing when I'm looking at it. But for some folks that don't, it may have been a good idea to put it in there. But that's interesting. All right, I know that I'm listened to.
They always, whatever stretch it is in the class at the end, it's always a very abbreviated, shortened. So it's always nice. I like to stack the 5-minute post-run, post-ride stretches
on afterwards.
They just purged. I digress about stretches. They just purged one of my favorite 5-minute post-ride Cody stretches from, it was like early 2020. He was playing, I think he was playing, some Britney song. But I just noticed when I tried to go stack that, it wasn't there.
It was gone.
Yep.
All right. Well, on January 15th, 3 really special classes in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day were released. The classes were shared via Peloton's social media, emphasizing the commemoration, celebration, and honor of Dr. King's life, his impact, and his legacy. The classes included a 30-minute ride with Tunde. It was at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. There was a 30-minute yoga flow with Chelsea Jackson Roberts at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, as well as a 10-minute meditation also by Chelsea that followed the flow and dropped at 8:15. The classes were specifically titled Martin Luther King Jr. and are available in the on-demand library for those that were unable to take them live. Just to note, in the past, Peloton has observed Martin Luther King Day with special classes from their Breathe In, Speak Up collection. This year, however, they did hold the classes specifically dedicated to Dr. King. So that was kind of a good, something for folks to notice. And then, he gave this to me, the Purge.
I
January
just thought
12th.
I'd welcome you back and assign your favorite
with the Purge.
story topic.
Well, we had another Purge. It happened on January the 12th. This is obviously, as we mentioned each week, Peloton's continuous, class library maintenance, which they like to call, all class purges. And they removed a majority of the classes filmed between November the 15th and November the 24th of 2020 from the on-demand library. The purge resulted in approximately 225 classes being removed over this 10-day period. However, around 23 classes from that time frame were saved. This included some Power Zone rides, the Metallica Artist Series, some Sundays with Love, Flow and Let Go, Jess King Experience, and a few other classes. The full list of classes that remain in the Peloton On-Demand library from that period will be able to be found. Pelo Buddy obviously tells us, but there are some rides, strength, bootcamp, yoga, and classes. This is the 5th consecutive week where Peloton's class library maintenance has purged 9 to 10 days worth of classes. so we keep losing classes. So if the ones that you like, make sure that you get into them. I guess this started back in April, right? April 2023.
And end of April last
So
year.
yeah. So they're
Hope it's
going.
worth it, Peloton. Hope it's worth it. Freeing up that space.
Yeah.
Well, we have a weekend only apparel sale on Peloton's apparel site this weekend. So, by the time this episode comes out, it's almost over because it's Sunday. This is for US folks only, though. Just know. But it's a buy one, get one 50% off on select styles. So it's not everything site wide, but still nice little weekend sale if you take advantage. And then we do have the next earnings call date. It's been announced. It will take place on February 1st. And do you have a time?
8:30 a.m. Eastern.
Which is kind of standard.
Yep,
Yeah.
It's ever since Barry came in. That's when John Foley was here. They would have it at the end of the day at like 5:30 Eastern, and Barry moved it to 8:30 a.m. So we'll see what they announce during this earnings call. It used to be where John Foley would give kind of an intro and kind of just talk for a bit about what he was thinking. Whereas Barry, he releases the letter that comes out at 7 a.m., which is kind of his thoughts. Then the earning call opens with, "Hey, welcome everyone. What questions do you have?" So it's a very
Barry's just all business.
Yeah.
Well, we have one birthday. Happy birthday to Cliff Dwanger, whose birthday was just this past Friday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Cliff. Young. He's so young. I think he just turned 31. They're babies.
Yeah.
Babies, his instructors. All right. I guess we will move right into instructor in the news. And John, why don't you kick it off?
Yeah, so first up is on Susie Chan. So she is going to serve as a host of the National Running Show Birmingham on January 20th. So this past weekend, actually, January 20th and 21st, as well as she's going to be giving a free talk, or she gave a free talk about the Marathon des Sables the day before. The National Running Show, it's an annual event in the UK for runners that features speakers, the latest running gear, tech, nutrition products, coaches, and more. It's held at the NEC in Birmingham in the UK, and Susie is listed on the event's speakers page. Will serve alongside Olympian runner Ewan Thomas, who's a host for the event, and there's more than 70 speakers listed, so it's a big event, a lot of people talking. And this is Susie's third year hosting the event. She previously hosted 2023 and 22. And if you're interested in attending, or if you did attend, you obviously could buy a ticket on the event website. It's £18. Children and carers are able to attend at no cost. The day before the event, Susie was also participating in a free event geared towards individuals participating in that marathon. Disables. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that.
How to pronounce
Disables.
it.
I'll go with Disables. A 6-day ultra marathon that takes place in Morocco. The event is called Why You Should Use Heat Acclimation to Help with Your MD's 2024 preparation. That occurred on January 19th, and that was a complimentary event. You could get a complimentary ticket and reserve your spot via Eventbrite. So I'm sure we'll see over the weekend some social media activity from Susie and attendees.
Yeah, just for a little
Nice.
extra context, that's a 6-day event that takes 250 kilometers, and the longest day is a 90-kilometer stage, and that's in Morocco in the Sahara Desert. So, talking about heat training and how to get ready for it, that's kind of why that's the focus of this event, and, figuring out how to do heat training when you're not in the desert to get ready for it.
It's crazy.
There's some crazy people out there. Who the hell would want to do
Ultra
that?
marathons are a whole other breed.
Yeah.
They're just wired different.
Definitely. All right. Well, huge congrats to Mila Wiederkind on the birth of her first baby. Mila shared the news on Instagram with a video showing the baby in a cradle wearing a shirt that says "Little Surf Buddy." Mila has been off the live schedule in recent weeks and has not yet shared an exact date for her return. Historically, the instructors have taken a maternity leave of approximately 5 months. For those of you that aren't aware, though, the UK do get a much longer period of time. So I'm curious to know how long Mila will be off. And it actually made sense to me now a little bit more as to bringing Irene in when they did, because I guess, you know, Irene will be taking over Mila's spots whilst Mila is off on maternity leave. So huge congrats to Mila. We look forward to finding out more about the baby, but there were some beautiful comments left on her Instagram post from the instructors, and everybody, everybody wished her well. But yeah, she pretty much kept going till the end.
Very end.
So
yeah.
that was good. That was good.
Congrats.
All
Well,
right.
Matt Wilpers was recently on a segment on New York 11. The full segment's on YouTube. I think it was a live TV segment at the time when it aired. But the description was Matt Wilpers, a training specialist and founder of Team Wilpers, joins New York Living to discuss while people dread running, and offers tips and to make it easier on yourself. And he was with the two hosts of the show, and they were just standing out on the corner in Manhattan on 42nd and 2nd Ave. And it was real, like, how can you not love Matt? He just brings a smile to your face. And he was just great in his interactions. And it's like trying to give an interview out on the street in New York City, just fighting the constant noise and like police sirens just added to the comedy of the interview. But it was a really good little segment. It was like 8 or 9 minutes. He talked about your posture, how important that is when you're running with your stride, taking lighter footsteps so you can be less impactful on your body. He also talked about not overanalyzing your foot strike, because one of the hosts said, are you supposed to go like heel to toe? And he's just like, it's not really, you don't really need to focus that much on it. It just change, it's going to change with the speed, with your pace. But, fun little segment. I'm sure we have a link to it on pelobuddy.com.
Of course. And talking about Matt, I don't know if you guys saw, he's actually in Australia. Yeah. And, when I see stuff like that, I mean, I look, they obviously are entitled to their personal time off, but the fact that he's down under, and we have Peloton down there, I'm curious to see, will he make an appearance? Will there be something? Because I know that there probably are tons of Australians that would love to get to meet him. So if he's taking a journey so far, you would think that they would have incorporated some kind of Peloton meet and greet or something like that for him. But I did see that he was at the Australian Open. So with his wife.
You might have to do some stalking at the Australian Open tennis tournament.
Right. If you're a Pelotoner. And then Ross Rayburn, I am just so in awe of him and the book. I don't know if either of you have purchased it or started reading it. I did start it, and it's fantastic. I have not had the opportunity to finish it yet just because of traveling. It was crazy. But Ross was recently interviewed by Fox News anchor Dana Perino. In the interview, they discussed Ross's career, his approach to fitness and mental health, and of course, his new book, Turning Inward, the Practice of Introversion for a Calm, Joyful, Authentic Life. Ross, who has gained a large international following, including professional athletes, politicians, CEOs, etc., shared insights from his experience. The conversation also touched on the advice he gives to people struggling with life's stresses and or chaotic, news cycles that we tend to hear. The full conversation between Dana and Ross, which delves deeper into fitness, meditation, and their personal experiences, is available on the Fox News Rundown Extra. So make sure that you get to hear that. And it was something interesting that I gained from the book, listening to it. A lot of people say, oh, I can't meditate, or, I can't sit still. And, Ross says, you you don't actually realize that most of the time you really are doing it anyway. You just don't realize you're doing it. There were some great nuggets in the book, and I'm looking forward to finishing it. So huge kudos to Ross, and good luck on the continuing of the book tour as he's out there pounding the streets. Yes, and then Leanne was featured on Amy Fuller's podcast, Monday Mile, this past week. Leanne chatted about beating the blues, battling cancer, and being fit for life. It's always wonderful to hear how inspirational Leanne is. Amy asked Leanne if she thought that happiness was a choice. And with Leanne's answer being yes, she does think it is. They also chatted about Leanne being on the cover of Women's Health magazine, and ended with Leanne saying that hard work is a privilege. It was actually a really great podcast. That it was just about 30 odd minutes, but just always wonderful to hear how inspirational Leanne was. She spoke about, getting back onto the platform with nobody really knowing about her cancer diagnosis until she chose to share it, with everybody a few months later. And then how, being on the cover, that wasn't her real hair. She had extensions put in, but it made her feel amazing that even after battling cancer, going through chemotherapy, she was able to just be her, her authentic self, and capture so much in that cover. So it was a really great podcast. I enjoyed it.
Did you see Leanne while you were over?
I did
PSL?
see, and she was so lovely. We did her ride, which honestly was so hard. It was a classic rock ride, and I have not been on my bike. And it shows. It is amazing how different the modalities are. So, being cross-trained in doing tread, bike, and row, and of course strength, is so crucial because you definitely work out differently. And I felt it. I really haven't been on my bike. I think the last time I was on my bike was for my 2,500th ride with Alex. But it was a really hard class. But yes, I did see her. She looks incredible. We chatted after. She wanted to meet Nicole, and she was so lovely to Nicole, giving her tips about what to do in London. And she spent probably a good 10 or 15 minutes with us after the class, which was so lovely in taking up her time. Ben was home. He had food poisoning. He had to cancel his classes. Yeah, he had to cancel his classes on Sunday. So I said to her, you better go home, Tim. She goes, oh no, all he does is just complain. You know how men are when they're sick. Yes, men. But so always lovely to spend some time with her. And she was so gracious and so lovely in giving up some of her time for us.
It's nice. Well, Jess Sims was just recently on the Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos show, and she was taking them through a exercise routine of different positions to help you basically get motivated to get started on your fitness journey. But she did some upper body exercises with some light dumbbells, working on your back in the quadruped position. So it's always fun comedy when like Mark Consuelos and Kelly Ripa are there, like in their regular hosting, like formal attire, like doing exercises on the floor that they set up with mats.
Yeah, always fun. They're so cute together. I'm glad that they eventually got this, kind of got to do this together.
Format,
their show. Yeah. All right, and to end our instructor in the news, Justin Thompson Rule, who we shared last week, has relaunched her own podcast, Listen Loudly, and I just mentioned, was actually featured on Marie Claire's UK's podcast, Decoded. Justin shares that one will only ever stick to a plan that you actually enjoy. So if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you ain't going to stick to it. And her message was pretty clear. She also says that being flexible is key. And that if you miss a day working out, if you're kind of training for something and you miss a day, don't try and jam pack it into your week. Just, you've missed the day, move on, keep going. And that was a really great kind of nugget that I got from the podcast in, don't be so hard on yourself. You're training, you're working out, you're, moving, follow what you enjoy and do it, as follow. You can certainly head over to Pelo Buddy. If you want to listen to the full podcast, Chris does have a link.
Nice.
All right. And I guess that wraps it up for Instructor in the News. And next up is our picks of the week. I will go ahead and kick it off. All right. So first up is Bex Gentry's 20-minute premiere row. It launched on the 11th of January at 7:30 p.m. It was recommended to us by Rebecca Trujillo, like a daughter Peloton. They said, loved Bex and so excited that she is now on the row. Yes, there are a lot of excited members. Then we have Hannah Frankson's 30-minute Move For You run. That was from the 13th at 8:30 a.m. This one was recommended by Dippin' Dot 22. They said, great class, always love Hannah. And Alex Toussaint's 30-minute hit ride, also from the 13th, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. This one came to us from Vern on a bike and Kim Carve 11. They said Alex brought it for this ride, 20 on 20, all off, all out. 20 on 20 off, all out?
20 on, 20 off. It was an all-out ride.
Okay. All right.
All
That
proud.
is what it is. 20 on, 20 off, all out.
All right, next up, Rebecca Kennedy's 45-minute hike from January 14th. We got this from Janine in Boston. They said her hikes are always great. And then Amanda, your friend, Charlotte Wiedenbach, 20-minute house ride, which is in English, from the 14th as well. Panders Andy submitted this. He said, at late notice, she stood in for Ben, who was ill with food poisoning, and did a 20-minute house music ride and then a 20-minute hit ride. She planned and wrote the classes in less than 2 hours and then absolutely killed it in studio with an audience of Ben fans. She was amazing, and the studio atmosphere was like nothing I've seen. The rides were super hard, fabulously executed. Even more amazing was that her script was in German and she was translating into English as she went. An A1 performance from the doctor. And it's nice to see that, a lot of times PSNY, they cancel classes with members and they don't get anybody to sub in. It's nice to see that they, for folks that were scheduled in studio with Ben, they weren't just canceled and they still were able to take a class with someone filling in for them. So it was nice to see.
And it was definitely last minute. I mean, it was definitely last minute. It's awesome.
Next up, Allie Loves 30-minute boss ride, also from January 14th. Love Squad Peloton submitted this. They said, glad to see a boss ride back on the schedule.
Awesome. And then Tunde, she did her 30-minute Martin Luther King ride. That was, as I said, from the 15th. This one came from lots of folks, so we love to see this. Jenny Gets Glazed, B. Simon Says, Cuppa Noodle 83, and Lilo on the Pelo. They said Tunde's words in the class were incredible, and the playlist was curated perfectly. And then the next one was actually mine, as well as Cuppa Noodle 83. It was Chelsea Jackson Roberts' 10-minute Martin Luther King Day meditation. It was also from the 15th at 8:15. What I loved about this meditation was she actually used Martin Luther King's words in the meditation. So she spoke, but she kind of voice-overed, some of his words, his speech. It was incredibly moving, and I really, really enjoyed it. I hopped on really not knowing what to expect, and found it to be probably one of my most favorite meditations, and we'll definitely go back to it. So I really loved that one. Hannah Corbin is up next. She had an extra 10 low impact ride. This one was from also the 15th. It came to us from Spinbug, and they said combo of AC plus low impact.
That should say AC/DC. So AC/DC music plus low impact.
combo of AC/DC music. Thanks, Chris. Was that a typo?
That was a typo. Sorry about that. You can 100% blame me for that one.
Blaming Chris for that one. But Spinbug, thank you for that recommendation.
All right, switching over to the floor. Callie's 20-minute move for you, arms and shoulders from January 15th. Got this from Gracie, the pirate dog. She said, some of these move for you classes have been hit or miss, but like this one from Callie. And then Andy Speer's 30-minute glutes and legs from the 15th. Got that from Red Strong 72. They said great long sets in this one. And then Aditi's 20-minute 90s Pilates from January 16th. We got that from Armajar 3. She said this class was great, and Aditi is quickly becoming one of my favorite Pilates instructors.
Oh, that's so nice. All right, we'll round them off with Kira Michelle's, her 20-minute yoga flow from the 16th, 6:30 p.m. This one came to us from a pup named Panda and Amajar 3. They said, lovely sequence of poses, good stretch, and message. Love having Kira back. We also got Sam Yo's 15-minute low impact ride. This one was from the 17th. It came to us from Kathy TS2. They said, fun playlist, Blue Brothers themed. And rounding up our picks of the week for this week is Bradley Rose's 30-minute Disney ride from the 18th. This one came from Mary Eve Johnson and Amajar 3. Such a great Disney playlist from Bradley in this class. And I have a bone to pick with you, Chris Lewis, because I was told
they snuck it by me.
I wasn't allowed to put my 18th one in. It has to wait for next week.
You should have gatekeeped that one, Chris Lewis, until next week.
You know,
really?
there was a typo in it. This date, I thought it said the 17th.
Typos, this guy.
So,
all right.
You know,
well, John Husking, I will save your At the Club Season 2, Episode 1 for next week.
I will say
it was my favorite pick of the week.
I'm a little bummed that nobody submitted Leanne's 30-minute 90s pop ride from the 16th where she shouted out Hugh Janus.
You didn't get that one by her. That one didn't get by her. Oh my goodness, that's too funny.
No, she saw it, but she said, are we doing it?
I'm just going to do
going
it.
For it? I'm going for it.
She just
went for it.
That's too funny. Well, there we have it, folks. Good to be back. And it was a good week. I guess there was some news. We did have some news that we were able to share with you. We asked Chris, it's kind of light this week, isn't it? And before we know it, we have an hour show that we were able to bring to you. Are we still talking, Chris, about possibly bringing in some guests in the future and doing something like that? I know that was something that was suggested.
Yeah, I think if we can
thoughts?
figure out the logistics on it, maybe we're debating whether we want to, tack them onto the end of this or whether we want to have kind of standalone midweek special episodes interviewing members of the community, other Peloton members. That idea. So, if anyone listening has thoughts on that, be sure to, drop us a DM and let us know your thoughts on that. But we're debating, a year, 2, 3 years ago, it's been a minute. We would end the show with kind of community interviews, but then the show would tend to go a little long
Way
sometimes,
too long.
because the news takes up about an hour and then you have another 30, 40 hour interview.
Wow.
You're talking 2
they
hours.
like hearing me.
But yeah, so we're thinking about
really nice to you.
Yeah, but we're thinking about bringing those back and maybe just having be a standalone episode of just the interview and kind of, might not be every week, maybe every other week, depending on what timing of production and availability lines up. But let us know your thoughts of that in the comments. Send us a DM and let us know what you think about that.
Yeah, I like that idea. I think people are asking for that more, and seeing that Peloton's podcast kind of just faded in the wind with their interviewing.
Fitness flipped.
Yeah, we can take it back. We can just take it back. We didn't want to step on Peloton's toes. We didn't want to overshadow them with our, interviews.
Well,
so
I think we can
give it to them.
Not to throw shade directly at that, but I think we can do better than just having like an interview where someone is just speaking, where it's just one-sided. It's a recording of them telling their story, and there's no interaction, with the interviewer.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a little harder to get instructors times lined up with some of their interviewees, so that's why they made the production that direction.
That way, yeah.
Just a reality of trying to get the instructors involved.
It's always devil's advocate. Yeah.
I love it. He keeps us honest, John. He makes sure that we do things honestly.
He tries.
So I like that idea, and I think it may be something nice for 2024 to kind of bring that back. I know members do like it. They do like to hear, and maybe we can even branch out and kind of get other important people out there, which could be fun. So something we can certainly work on. All right. Well, I guess that wraps it up for us. From very snowy, cold Maryland. It is me signing out. Bye for now, everybody.
And for me here in Atlanta, we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.
And for me here in snowy, cold Michigan as well. I will be off next week. I will be gallivanting in the city. I'll be at PSNY for a couple days, doing some Pelo meetups, hanging with my mom in Jersey. So hopefully I'll see you hopefully I'll run into you at some point, Amanda.
Yeah, I just thought about that. We'll have to figure out what we do with next week's show, Chris, because both John and I will be off.
We'll figure something out.
We'll figure something out. We'll keep you guys posted. Hopefully we can get maybe our friend John Mills coming back, and you and John can do the show together. How about that, John? John Prue, we can see if it can work without us. Just don't get too familiar. Don't get too comfortable with that.
Oh, me. I love sitting in the seat, so watch out.
All right. Well, we'll see what we bring you next week. But yes, John Pruitt, you and I will meet up. I look forward to seeing you, big man.
All right.
It'll be fun. All right.
Right around the corner.
Folks. See ya.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag, and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.